Are you tired of hearing the same old political promises that never seem to impact your wallet positively? Does it feel like the system is rigged and you're left wondering how the rules of money keep changing without notice? Buckle up, because today we're unraveling how Trump's return to the Oval Office is shaking up the U.S. economy in 2024. From falling interest rates to rising tensions in trade and everything in between, Trump's policies are set to reshape our financial landscape. Whether you're a homeowner, investor, or just trying to make ends meet, this video will shed light on the decisions that are quietly but profoundly altering your economic future. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand these shifts, but also gain practical strategies to navigate them like a pro. Subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into how Trump's policies are shaping the economy and uncover the financial truths you can't afford to ignore. Let's kick things off with the Federal Reserve's recent decision to cut interest rates by 25 basis points, the first significant drop since 2020. Sounds like a win, right? Not so fast. Interest rates are the backbone of our financial system. They determine how much you pay on loans and how much you earn on savings. Lower rates make borrowing cheaper, which sounds great if you're eyeing a new home or planning to refinance. But here's the catch. Lower rates also mean savers get the short end of the stick, earning next to nothing on their deposits. Trump's administration is cheering on these rate cuts as a way to stimulate the economy. Businesses can borrow more easily, potentially leading to more jobs and investments. But let's not forget, these are the same businesses that have been hoarding cash and buying back shares instead of raising wages. Will this really help the average Joe? Only time will tell. For now, borrowers rejoice. Savers? Not so much. Now, let's talk about the housing market. A roller coaster that's left many clinging for dear life. Trump's deregulatory policies aim to make construction easier. But don't let the buzz fool you. Mortgage rates are still sky high, and the dream of owning a home feels more like chasing a mirage. Why? Mortgage rates don't follow the Fed's short-term cuts. They're tied to the 10-year Treasury bond yields. And right now, those yields are climbing thanks to inflation fears and increased government borrowing. Translation, homes are still expensive, and loans to buy them aren't getting any cheaper. Here's where it gets ironic. Trump's plan to boost housing through deregulation might increase inventory, but it won't solve the affordability crisis. Builders might rejoice, but first-time buyers are still stuck on the sidelines. Inflation, the silent thief in your wallet. We've seen it drop from 9% in 2022 to 2.4% today, which sounds like a victory. But let's be real. Prices are still higher than what we were paying just a few years ago. A loaf of bread that once cost $2 now costs $3, and that morning coffee? It's creeping closer to $6. Trump's policies, focused on boosting domestic production and imposing tariffs, are a mixed bag. While they aim to protect American manufacturers and bring jobs back home, they often come with a hidden price tag. Those tariffs on imported goods, they're passed down to you, the consumer. That sleek smartphone or new TV you've been eyeing? It's likely more expensive because of those policies. Here's the irony. Made in America sounds patriotic, but it's costing Americans more at checkout. And let's not ignore the ripple effects. When prices for imported goods rise, it drives inflation in unexpected places. Think packaging for your groceries or the electronics inside your car. Consider this as well. While U.S. businesses might thrive, consumers bear the brunt. The next time you see a Made in America label, ask yourself, at what cost? Another question is, where's the tipping point? Let us know your thoughts. If you want more content like this, including insights on how Trump's policies could boost your earning potential and how to take advantage, comment on the word economy below. All right, speaking of tariffs, let's not ignore the elephant in the room, Trump's trade policies. His America First agenda is designed to protect U.S. industries, but it often escalates into full-blown trade wars, with consequences that aren't always as patriotic as they sound. Here's the irony. While Trump pitches this as a win for the American worker, the reality is more complex. Higher tariffs on imports mean higher prices for consumers. And let's face it, Do you really want to pay double for a smartphone just because it's made domestically? That sleek new TV or those favorite running shoes, suddenly they feel like luxury items. Here's a twist. While the tariffs are meant to shield U.S. industries, they also raise costs for American manufacturers who rely on imported materials. Imagine a U.S. furniture maker forced to pay more for wood and metals sourced abroad. Their production costs skyrocket, forcing them to either raise prices, hurting sales, or absorb the costs, shrinking profits. Either way, it's a lose-lose. And let's not forget the global stage. When the U.S. imposes tariffs, other countries retaliate. For instance, China slapping higher tariffs on American soybeans hurt U.S. farmers more than anyone else. The ripple effects of these trade wars go beyond consumers and manufacturers. They strike at the heart of export-reliant industries. It's a risky game, with no guarantees of victory. Protecting U.S. jobs is a noble goal, but when international partnerships sour and costs rise for everyone involved, it begs the question, is America first worth going it alone? Under Trump's first term, corporate tax cuts sent the stock market soaring. Now, investors are holding their breath, wondering if history will repeat itself. Here's the deal. The S&P 500's recent success is heavily reliant on 7 tech giants: Meta, Alphabet, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. Sure, they've carried the market on their backs, but what happens if they stumble? Analysts from Goldman Sachs and Vanguard are already predicting lower returns over the next decade, ranging from 3 to 6%. Meanwhile, Trump's push for more tax cuts might give the market a short-term boost, but the long-term sustainability? Questionable. Trump's pro-business policies aim to create jobs, but the latest employment numbers tell a different story. With only 12,000 jobs added in October, the labor market is looking shaky, a far cry from the robust growth many expected. Let me share a quick anecdote. Sarah, a small business owner, ran a beloved bakery in her community. Her pastries were the stuff of legends, but rising costs for ingredients, increased wages to retain staff, and dwindling foot traffic forced her to close her doors last month. Deregulation might reduce some hurdles for corporations, but for Sarah and thousands of small businesses like hers, it wasn't enough to keep them afloat. The irony? Deregulation and tax breaks might encourage large businesses to expand, but they don't guarantee job creation. Instead, many corporations use these benefits to automate processes, buy back stocks, or pad executive bonuses, leaving workers in the dust. Add to this the ongoing labor shortages, and companies are finding it increasingly difficult to meet growing demand. When labor markets falter, the ripple effects are felt everywhere. From reduced consumer spending to struggling local economies, weak employment growth is more than a number. It's a wake-up call. The question isn't just about creating jobs, but creating sustainable jobs that provide stability in a rapidly changing economy. So, while Trump's policies aim to stimulate growth, the reality for workers, especially those in small businesses, paints a more complex and fragile picture. The backbone of our economy is bending, and without stronger support, it risks breaking. Let's talk about the middle-class squeeze. Who really wins? Trump's tax policies are often touted as a win for everyone, but when you peel back the layers, it's clear the middle class is left holding the short end of the stick. Sure, tax cuts might lower what you owe this year, but will they actually help you get ahead? Unlikely. Let's break it down. Inflation may have calmed down from its earlier peaks, but it's still lurking, quietly driving up the costs of essentials like groceries, rent, and healthcare. Meanwhile, wages have largely stayed stagnant. That refund check might feel like a win, but it's like patching a leaky boat. It won't stop you from sinking. Here's an analogy. Imagine a game of tug-of-war between corporations and the middle class. On one end, corporations enjoy massive tax breaks, allowing them to invest, expand, or simply pocket more profits. On the other, middle-class families struggle to hold their ground against rising living costs. The rope isn't moving, it's just fraying in the middle. How Trump's policies are shaping the economy comes into sharp focus here. The middle class is stuck in limbo. They're promised growth and prosperity, but the benefits seem to pile up at the top, leaving the rest to wonder when or if it will trickle down. This isn't just about numbers. It's about real lives. Think about Sarah, a teacher who works 2 jobs just to cover her bills. Her paycheck is stretched thinner every year, and the relief from tax cuts feels more like a drop in the ocean. The irony? Trump's policies are meant to stimulate the economy, but the middle class, the backbone of consumer spending, is struggling to keep up. If the middle falters, what happens to the rest of the system? Let's dive into energy policies, power play, or pricey gamble. Trump's focus on energy independence is bold, but it's also divisive. Deregulation of the energy sector might reduce costs for businesses, but what about the long-term picture? Will consumers see any real savings, or are we mortgaging the future for a short-term win? Here's a metaphor to make sense of it. Picture a car running on fumes. Trump's energy policies aim to keep the tank full by drilling and expanding fossil fuel production. But what happens when the car's engine, the planet, starts breaking down from overuse? Renewable energy advocates argue that ignoring climate-friendly alternatives could lead to catastrophic repairs later. Critics also point to how deregulation might disproportionately benefit corporations while leaving consumers footing the bill. Sure, cheaper energy might sound great now, but ignoring renewable investments could mean skyrocketing costs down the road as natural resources dwindle. And let's not forget the global perspective. Many nations are transitioning to clean energy, creating new markets and opportunities. If the U.S. clings to old models, we risk being left behind in the race for innovation. The debate around energy independence is a balancing act. Economic growth versus environmental sustainability. Trump's policies might tip the scales in favor of immediate gains, but at what cost? All right, let's discuss healthcare costs. Trump's economic policies have prioritized growth and deregulation, but when it comes to healthcare, the cracks in the system are impossible to ignore. With medical costs continuing to rise, many Americans are finding themselves priced out of basic care. Here's the bitter truth. While businesses might thrive under Trump's tax cuts, families are still feeling the pinch. And this is where how Trump's policies are shaping the economy reveals a glaring gap. Economic growth at the top doesn't automatically translate to affordability for the average person. Let's use a personal story to illustrate. Take Mike, a small business owner who had to let go of his health insurance because premiums kept climbing. Despite running a successful bakery, Mike now faces the constant worry of what would happen if he or his family needed urgent care. He's not alone. Millions of middle-class Americans are making similar sacrifices. Ironically, while Trump's administration deregulates industries to boost the economy, the healthcare sector remains one of the least consumer-friendly markets. Prices are opaque, competition is stifled, and patients are left with few options. This isn't just a financial issue, it's a societal one. If families can't afford healthcare, it impacts their productivity, their stability, and ultimately, the economy itself. Trump's economic policies might be creating opportunities, but the burden of healthcare costs remains a heavy anchor dragging many families down. Let's shift gears and discuss how Trump's policies are shaping the 2024 economy from a global perspective. Trump's policies don't just stay within U.S. borders, they send shockwaves around the globe. From trade tensions with China to tariff battles with Europe, the world is feeling the ripple effects of how Trump's policies are shaping the economy. Let's consider the renegotiated USMCA, which replaced NAFTA. While it was pitched as a win for American workers, critics argue that the gains are modest at best. Mexican factories, for instance, continue to produce goods at a fraction of U.S. costs, making it hard for American manufacturers to compete. Then there's the elephant in the room: China. Trump's ongoing trade war has introduced tariffs that hurt U.S. consumers and businesses. Sure, they're meant to protect American industries, but who's really paying the price? Spoiler alert, it's you, the consumer, with higher prices at checkout. Here's a historical perspective. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 aimed to protect American farmers, but ended up deepening the Great Depression. While we're far from that level of crisis, it's a reminder that trade wars rarely end in clear victories. The global economy is interconnected. When Trump's policies disrupt one part, the ripple effects can create chaos or opportunities for businesses and investors willing to adapt. Up next, education and skill development, ignored yet essential. Despite all the focus on economic growth, one glaring issue remains unaddressed: education. In today's rapidly evolving job market, the skills gap is widening, and Trump's policies aren't doing much to bridge it. Here's a quick reality check. Automation and artificial intelligence are reshaping industries at lightning speed. Jobs that existed a decade ago are disappearing, replaced by roles that require entirely new skill sets. Yet, funding for education and job training remains stagnant, leaving many workers ill-prepared for the demands of a modern economy. How Trump's policies are shaping the economy becomes painfully clear here. Deregulation and tax cuts might fuel short-term growth, but without investment in human capital, the long-term prospects look shaky. Think about it. We're entering an era where technology moves faster than policy. Imagine trying to upgrade a smartphone without updating its software. It might work for a while, but eventually it becomes obsolete. That's exactly what's happening to the workforce. The irony? While Trump's administration focuses on growth, the very workforce needed to sustain that growth is being overlooked. Workers without access to upskilling opportunities are falling behind, and that gap only widens with time. The solution? Personal investment in education and skill development. Whether it's learning coding, exploring renewable energy technologies, or gaining financial literacy, staying ahead in this economy means taking control of your own growth. Start small. Online courses, community programs, or mentorship opportunities can make a world of difference. Remember, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Will you be ready? All right, let's move into another small businesses. Are they thriving? Trump's America. First, policies claim to champion small businesses. But let's take a closer look. Are they really thriving? Or are the benefits disproportionately skewed toward larger corporations? The answer lies in the details. While deregulation might ease some burdens, rising tariffs and limited access to affordable loans make it challenging for small businesses to stay competitive. For every regulation cut, there's a new cost increase somewhere else. Small businesses are the backbone of the U.S. economy, yet they're often overshadowed by the needs of major corporations. The irony is that the very policies designed to promote growth sometimes push small businesses to the brink. Let's dive into how Trump's policies are shaping the economy for investors. For investors, Trump's economic shifts are a double-edged sword. Lower interest rates might seem like a golden opportunity, but global trade tensions and market volatility create a minefield. Adapting to Trump's policies means being strategic. Diversification is key. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Explore emerging markets, consider alternative assets, and keep a close eye on the tech giants driving the S&P 500. The lesson? Be proactive, not reactive. The economy may be unpredictable, but a well-informed investor can thrive in any environment. All right, moving forward. Let's bring it back to you. Navigating these economic shifts requires a clear plan. No matter how unpredictable the landscape becomes, you can take actionable steps to safeguard your financial future. Here are 3 essential tips to guide you. 1. Diversify your investments. Think of your investments as a garden. If you plant only one type of crop and a pest comes along, your entire harvest is wiped out. Diversifying across sectors, geographies, and even asset classes ensures that if one area underperforms, others can help balance the loss. Don't just stick to traditional stocks. Consider real estate, index funds, or even REITs, real estate investment trusts, for added security. 2. Pay down. High-interest debt. Debt is like a leaky bucket. No matter how much water, income you pour in, it's never full. Start with credit cards and personal loans. The less you owe, the more flexibility you'll have when interest rates shift. 3. Build an emergency fund. Life is unpredictable. Hello, unexpected medical bills or job loss. A well-stocked emergency fund, ideally 3 to 6 months of living expenses, acts as a financial parachute when the economy takes a dive. Trump's policies may shape the economy, but your financial future is in your hands. By staying informed, making intentional decisions, and embracing these strategies, you'll not only survive, but thrive amidst the uncertainty. Uncertainty breeds opportunity. Will you seize it? And there you have it. A deep dive into how Trump's policies are shaping the 2024 economy and what it means for you. From the contentious trade wars that stir global markets to the tax cuts that promise growth but leave some struggling, these policies are more than headlines. They're shaping the financial realities we all navigate. Whether you're an investor, eyeing opportunities, a small business owner adapting to changing landscapes, or simply someone trying to stretch every dollar, the message is clear. Your response matters. While we can't dictate the decisions made in Washington, we can take proactive steps to secure our own financial futures. Here's the thing. Uncertainty, while unsettling, is also the breeding ground for opportunity. Yes, trade tensions might create volatility. And yes, tax policies might not feel like they're working in your favor. But these challenges are also calls to action. They're an invitation to diversify your investments, sharpen your financial skills, and make strategic moves that position you for success. If nothing else, Trump's economic shifts remind us of one crucial truth: control what you can. By staying informed, adjusting your strategy, and taking ownership of your financial journey, you can turn even the toughest circumstances into opportunities for growth. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the ever-changing world of money. Let us know in the comments. How are you adapting to Trump's economic policies? Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and take control of your financial destiny.